Okay, so first of all, thanks for the invitation, Luigi. Greatly appreciated. Thank you to all of you who decided to pop in here, even though you probably have a dozen things to do on a Friday evening. We're grateful to have you here. We're not going to take a lot of time. We are going to run through some science that I have been absolutely fascinated by. Science that I have to admit was fairly new to me until just recently. But when I started becoming aware of this science actually existed, I couldn't help myself. I just had to become more and more immersed in it. I'm going to share some of those details with all of you during this presentation. And I will tell you, certainly do not take my word for anything you hear in the presentation. Do some of your own research as well, because there's some fascinating stuff out there. And I'll guide you as to some of the keywords that you can type into Google AI or some whatever search engine you like to use and do a little bit of research on your own. So, needless to say, but we're going to say it anyway, I am not a doctor nor am I a health practitioner. This is meant to inform, but for goodness sake, make sure that you consult physicians if you have any doubt at all about using this technology on yourself. What I will say is PEMF, or Pulsed Electromagnetic Field, obviously is something that has been around for millennia. It's been around since human beings have been around. In fact, it's been around a lot longer than that. It's been around since our planet has been around, because all of you, of course, are familiar with the concept of grounding. Well, that idea that our planet has an electromagnetic field as citizens, as a species living on this planet, we not only do we thrive in that space, it's absolutely critical to us. And you're going to learn a little bit more about that during the course of the presentation. If that magnetic field were removed, the damage that it would cause us as human beings is well, it would kill us ultimately. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. The idea also of being able to reduce pain, reduce inflammation, improve circulation, detoxify your body, improve the quality of your sleep, to do all of these things without using drugs or chemicals is of so critical importance. I'm sure that many of you know people that are having tough time sleeping these days. Maybe they're just taking on a little bit more stress because they're exposed to so much more because of social media. It seems that the news and politics is kind of forcing its way into our lives these days, whether we want to be political or not. It just seems to be constantly landing on our doorstep. And many of these things can cause all kinds of anxieties and stresses, whether we want it or not. Terahertz is the other thing we're going to discuss. And this is a very small range. It's part of the magnetic field range between microwaves and infrared waves. And this is another area that I'm going to encourage you to do a little research on. I'm going to give you, again, some keywords because there's some incredible stuff that's taking place here. So, first of all, we're going to focus on PEMF benefits. Now, one of the things that I want you to become keenly aware of is that all natural things on planet Earth have a vibration. In fact, I could probably venture to say there are many unnatural or unnatural things on planet Earth that have a vibration. And one of those things, of course, is a healthy human cell. And in fact, a diseased human cell also has a vibration. It's a slightly different frequency than a healthy human cell. And one of the things that PEMF can do by sending these pulses through your body, it can not only stimulate, activate healthy human cells, but it can also have adverse or negative effects on unhealthy cells, which is exactly what we want. Now, when it comes to sort of our metabolism or metabolic weight management, there's some incredible benefits that we've started to. In fact, I think in your testimony yesterday, Luigi, you mentioned weight loss as part of the list of benefits that you've been seeing over the past month. And that's really nice to hear because that is certainly what the science is saying will happen. In fact, when we continue down the list, regenerative medicine support, you can see there's sort of a very creative artist rendition of a DNA strand. When we start talking about protecting DNA and stimulating stem cells, that's another very, very significant internal benefit. And of course, if you group a few trillion cells together, ultimately with the same purpose in the body, well, you have an organ. In this case, we're also seeing some fantastic work that's being done with PEMF when it comes to the health of our organs. In this particular case, one of the things that OlyLIFE is discussing is how traditional traditional Chinese medicine practices, which are very focused on cellular energy. They're calling it Jing energy. That these technical or these scientific products work very harmoniously with those types of practices. So if that's something that interests you, sort of the holistic approach to health, what we're going to be talking about today is not going to contradict anything you're passionate about, but rather it's going to support and enforce what you're passionate about. And the same thing applies with bioavailability of dietary supplements. One of the things, of course, that many of us understand and believe is as the world becomes more toxic, it certainly would be beneficial for us perhaps to take some additional supplements. Or if we're not doing that, maybe we choose to be very specific in the foods that we eat. Perhaps we're taking more of an organic decisions when it comes to diet, or vegan decisions when it comes to diet, to manage very specific needs in our body. But I know that many of you are also spending money, good money, supplementing as well. One of the great things that PEMF does by vibrating human cells, healthy human cells, in the right way, activating those cells, is it also is going to increase the bioavailability of the money that you're spending already. That's the supplements that you're using. Some very significant studies now when it comes to long COVID and PEMF benefits. And then lastly, but not least, stress reduction, cognitive enhancement. We talked about how much more stressful life is. In fact, I was talking with someone, I think just last week, we were reminiscing about how different life was 30 and 40 years ago. I think in the 90s was what we were talking about, because we'd been friends since the 90s, and how much simpler life seemed to be back then than it is now. So anything that we can do to get ourselves back to that type of a mental health, that type of a place, is certainly going to be welcome. Now, the next thing we're going to do, just for a couple of minutes, is we're going to talk about the Terahertz benefits. And we're going to go directly to a site called PubMed. Now, PubMed is publicly accessible. It's a very, very large database, and a search engine is attached to it, to the National Library of Medicine. So you can get a great deal of tremendous information from PubMed. Please feel free to do so. All of this information was taken exactly from that source. Now, when it comes to pain management, and pain management is key. Remember, for PEMF, what we were really talking about was circulation. We were talking about vibration of human cells to amplify their effectiveness. Now we're really getting into, with terahertz, a much more specific, remember we said it's a more specific range of the magnetic field. So it's between the infrared and the microwave waves, that the vibration. And so neuropathic gains or neuropathy, this is where we're going to start to see the potential of some pain management. I know that many of you either have chronic pain from previous injuries, or you know someone that's in chronic pain. And it's always a double-edged sword when it comes to managing chronic pain, because the quickest and the easiest approach isn't always the best approach, and that is to drug the hell out of yourself. And I know that many people that suffer from chronic pain, the last thing they want to do is keep pumping themselves full of chemicals that are hard on their body and difficult for their body, in some cases even impossible for their body to eliminate all the negative effects. So anything that they can do that's going to help with pain management, I think, is going to be welcome. The modulation of cellular activity, we already touched on this in the previous slide, so we won't spend a lot of time, but this idea of activating human cells so they can operate at optimum levels of critical importance. Now, to take that a step further, imagine for a moment that you could actually get in and assist in some way for DNA damage repair. Now, of course, DNA in the mitochondria of every single cell in your body, it goes about as deep as it can get. That's the building blocks for who you are. That's that DNA structure. So the fact that we can do some repair in some of these very difficult to reach areas, I think is absolutely remarkable. Now, this is interesting because, again, we are not health practitioners, so please do not take what we're telling you as gospel truth when it comes to medicine. And that's not the intention here. The reason that this note is here in regards to cancer treatment is there is some incredible research that's being done right now with terahertz, very specific terahertz wavelength, and cancer treatments. And in fact, many of you have probably even seen videos on YouTube or on the news where you'd see a specific terahertz device causing the rapid vibration of diseased cells, in this case cancer cells, until they actually blow up. so that they burst, and then of course your body's all your body's white blood cells and its natural defenses can then just simply get rid of the ingredients that were in those disease cells. And we'll talk about some additional benefits here for a second as well. We talk about blood flow and we talk about healthy blood circulation. These are some of the benefits that are going to help you. Well, this is certainly going to be an area that would be assisting with weight loss, everything flowing properly through your body, but also making sure that inflammation can be reduced as well. Natural blood flow, a healthy blood flow is going to assist in that and a number of other areas as well. Now, we'll switch gears just for a moment. When we talk about anxiety or OCD or mental health. Again, these are areas where there has been some wonderful breakthroughs, scientific and study breakthroughs, and this is something that is affecting more and more people every day. Bone density and also osteoporosis. We've got some interesting facts we're going to share with you about that in just, in fact, I think on the next slide. And then, of course, the list is going to go on and on. And I'm sure that as you do your own research, you're going to discover some areas that were absolutely fascinating to you. And we certainly look forward to hearing back from you into some of the scientific breakthroughs and studies and benefits from this type of geomagnetic energy healing when you have an opportunity to share some of your thoughts, which, by the way, we do at the end of every one of these calls. So this is quite interesting. NASA has been they're in fact at the forefront of a lot of this research. And one of the reasons for it is every single time that they send astronauts into space, as you can imagine, these are hundreds of millions of dollars in endeavors, each individual endeavor. So you want to make sure that you can control as much as you can control. And astronaut health, to make sure there's no major issues, is certainly an area that you can control. So they monitor the health, but after spending some time in space, they're noticing their astronauts are coming back in very different physical condition. In fact, they're even seeing when they do bone density tests, they're seeing bone density drops sharply when they're in space. They're seeing muscle atrophy drop, significant liability. They're seeing poor blood circulation. They're seeing an adjustment in mood. And one of the things that it is essentially led to do is a great deal of research in geomagnetic energy, because that's the one thing that they are not exposed to in space. They can make sure that they supplement their diets. They can make sure that they drink pure water. They can make sure that they get good nutrition, and they even get some exercise. You'd probably have seen videos where they'll strap themselves around the waist to a treadmill, for example. Well, when you take away gravity, when you take away the geomagnetic energy as well, you're going to start to see a lot of these problems. The wonderful news, of course, is, and this is why they're doing so much research, is this geomagnetic energy can also accelerate the recovery for all these astronauts. So here's an example of a large-scale piece of equipment, a PEMF device inside a medical clinic. And what we're here to focus on today is a very simple way that we can use this technology in our own homes. Now, the company we're here to talk about is called OlyLIFE. It's an abbreviation for Olympic Life, and one of the reasons that that is the name of the company is they seem to be attracting a lot of high-performance athletes and individuals that do want to operate at a peak level. So the idea being able to bring PEMF and terahertz devices into your own home is what we'll focus on, let's say, for the next 10 minutes or so. I want to run through a list of products that are available from this company, and we'll highlight some of the most obvious benefits as we do so. So this is sort of the flagship of the company. This is probably their most popular device. And it is a PEMF device, but it also has terahertz benefits as well. So the important thing about this is both the broad range magnetic field and the very specific wavelengths that encompass terahertz are part of this device. This is very important because I know that many of you are aware of devices. For example, you hear about all kinds of grounding devices where you can put a sheet on your bed and you can ground that out in the yard, or you can ground it in an electrical outlet at your house. And I suspect those have very significant benefits. In fact, I know some people, friends of mine, in fact, that have even spent $7,000, $8,000 on full mattresses for their beds. Well, it is important to note that those PEMF devices absolutely do provide benefits. But it is also important for you to note that this is including terahertz as well. And we're doing it in a way, when you see the price point of this particular item, this is thousands of dollars less than those products. And so the company has worked very, very hard to make sure this is something that is accessible to everybody. Now, portable pain relief and recovery, and it is portable. It's something that's very easy to move around. Also, tension and inflammation, of course, sleep. I noticed on the last testimonial, we heard some people talking about improvements in their sleep. And one of the things we kept hearing over and over was that they said they're dreaming more deeply. And that's really noteworthy because you all know that it's not until you get into that REM sleep, that last stage of sleep, that your body is really getting the rest that it needs, and where so many systems within your body are rebuilding, they're fixing themselves in that deepest sleep. So I think it's really quite a coincidence that when they're talking about their sleep improvements, they're talking about dreaming more. That's very interesting to me. Boosting circulation, of course, supporting cellular repair, which is critically important. Now, the Tera P90 Plus, there's a significant addition to this particular device, and you can see it in the photograph. On the left-hand side of the photo, you can see two handheld devices that are attached to this, and on the right-hand side, you can see some gels that work in coordination with this. So first things first, this has the same terahertz and PEF benefits. In fact, it has all the same features as the P90, but included in those handheld devices is a 650 nanometer red light therapy. And now, if you're unfamiliar with red light therapy, I will be surprised because it's absolutely everywhere these days. It's incredible, some of the research that's being done with red light therapy. In fact, my sister has been using red light therapy just recently and had a blemish. It was a broken blood vessel in a mark on her skin just below her eye, and it had been there for 30 years. I've always known her with this ever since she was in her young teens. And she recently started using red light therapy on it. It took a while. It didn't happen overnight, but about 6 weeks later, I cannot see where the mark was. It's absolutely incredible. 650 nanometers seems to be the number for red light therapy where we're really seeing significant benefits. So things like psoriasis and other skin conditions, scalp health, all of these things you can use for benefits when it comes to red light therapy. Also, stimulating collagen in the body. Now, we all know that we produce collagen until our body decides to stop producing collagen. So that's usually in our 50s, maybe late 50s. You certainly want to make sure you take advantage while your body is producing collagen. And this is going to be one of those devices that is going to allow you to continue to do that. At the same time, also improving your skin elasticity. So to say you're giving yourself a little mini facelift over a prolonged period of time probably isn't an overstatement. In addition to that, of course, being able to reduce inflammation of the skin, benefits to acne sufferers, which is probably going to be the teenagers in your house, but also reducing signs of aging. And one of the reasons for that is we are required to drink water during or after each session that will use our Tera P90 Plus or Tera P90. So if you're someone who doesn't typically drink a lot of water, just the usage of this machine is going to remind you, so you're getting hopefully 2 or 3 extra glasses a day. Now, EMS, muscle stimulation, this is something if you're a spa goer, you're probably familiar with, and the same thing with radio frequency. All of these things at a professional level are included in this piece of machinery. Next, ionizer, the A9 ionizer. This is, again, absolutely remarkable because it floods your home with negative ions. And when it comes to the benefits of negative ions, we'll talk about that in just a minute. But if you've ever been outside when a significant storm is rolling through, one of those storms where the clouds are really dark and it hasn't started raining yet, but you know it's going to really soon, and that you got that really, really fresh smell in the air. That's actually what this is going to pump into your home. In fact, 200 million of these negative ions per cube centimeter. Just put a centimeter, sort of indicate a centimeter with your thumb and your index finger, and cube that. 200 million of those inside that little space. Absolutely fascinating. So that's going to do an awful lot to neutralize toxins in the air in your home. But also, believe it or not, these negative ions can operate as free radical scavengers. Now, if you're unsure what a free radical is, very simply, that is a particle in your body that has lost an electron. And in losing electron, it is no longer in balance, and it can cause significant damage, crashing into healthy human cells, sometimes taking a bite out of those healthy cells in an effort to try to rebalance itself and try to steal an electron from somewhere else. Well, when you breathe in these ions, they come with an extra electron that they're happy to give up. So there are some very significant health benefits that will assist in having one of these running in the room that you're in most of the time. Benefits to the nervous system, benefits to the immune system, also benefits to stress reduction and sleep. So this is, I think, a must-have for everyone's house. I would certainly encourage you to consider. The G1, this is a very significant jump in technology as well. And what you'll learn about this particular project is when we take a look at some of the patents that this company has, everything they do, they don't bring anything to market unless they feel they can dominate the market. They can clearly stand out amongst competition. And this is certainly the case as well, because we're talking about ultra low 7.8 frequency, hertz frequency for PEMF, which makes it the world's first low frequency eye care device. And so this can be turned on in the vicinity of your eyes, providing plenty of good and no harm. And in fact, you'll notice that when you use this device, it not only does it have heaters that'll surround your orbital sockets around your eyes, assisting with the muscle treatment of all of those many, many muscles that assist in sight, but also it's going to assist you in improving many eyesight conditions, including I've heard people mention already in live testimonial, helping them eliminate floaters, which could be highly aggravating if you suffer from that, but many types of optical degeneration. And that's a very significant thing, bringing blood circulation to the eye, reducing inflammation to the eye, reducing red. We talked about all the massaging features as well. And take a look at the last bullet point here. Because so many of us are spending so much more time on our telephones than we were at any time in the past. In fact, the average person now on planet Earth is spending 6 hours a day at their phone. And remember, in many cases, I want you to consider just for a moment, when you're using your phone, how far away is your phone from your face? Is it down in your lap like a laptop would be? Probably not. You're probably going to have your phone 12 inches, 18 inches, 20 inches away from your face. It's too close, and it's causing strain on your eyes. In fact, myopia is one of those conditions that normally we don't see until later in life as seniors. Take a look at the last line in this list of bullets. 80% of children in Singapore are showing signs of having myopia. 80% of kids. That's insane. And it's because of telephone use, but it's affecting all of us in an adverse way. So these G1 goggles, you'll notice the right at the front of them, there's perforations. We can be using these while we're on our telephone. We can use these while we're sitting and meditating. We can use them while we're visiting family and friends, or even while we're watching TV. Now, I'm equally passionate about this because the idea of driving hydrogen the right way into your water is also going to provide some incredible health benefits. In fact, here's one of those notes. If you have a piece of paper and pen handy, I want you to write down this term, MRET. This is molecular resonance effect technology. Now, this is important because when you go do a Google search for hydrogen water, you're going to see all kinds of companies, all kinds of products pop up. This is one of the hottest trends in health right now, this hydrogen water. And one of the reasons is the science says it works, and it does work. But this idea of driving hydrogen in your water, there are definitely some players that have authenticated themselves and some really proper quality products. And then unfortunately are some players that are simply trying to take advantage of what's a huge health trend. And when you do your own research, and this is why I'd like you to do this, go do a Google search and you go type in hydrogen water, and you'll see bottles that look just like the one on the screen, and then type in MRET. Now you're going to have dozens and dozens of companies pop up, all claiming to be the best. I want you to do a little research. Go find out which of those bottles has MRET technology built into it, and you will be shocked at what you find. All right, so this idea of being able to drive hydrogen into water and modify the way your body absorbs that water, absorbs the water in a much more productive way. So your cells are truly getting hydrated. This is where you're also going to see some anti-aging benefits because in many cases, we're not absorbing as much as we think we are when it comes to proper hydration. A lot of people I know hate drinking water. They just don't do it. So if you're going to be one of those individuals, you're certainly entitled to be, make sure that the water you're drinking is providing maximum benefit for you. And then, of course, the idea of this, again, with a willingness to give up a positive electron to help assisting the neutralizing of free radicals in your system. And the last thing for us to discuss is very unique because we've talked about this range, this terahertz range between microwave and infrared. Well, this wavelength is very specific on this wand. It calls itself a Vitality Wand is the name of the product. It is exactly that. And there is a stand that comes with this wand. And the reason is this is something that you can use at any part or all parts of your body, but sometimes you have a difficult time holding it in place. Well, you don't need to worry about it. It comes with this really cool looking briefcase and stand, so you can just sit where you want to sit comfortably with this wand pointed exactly where it needs to be pointed. And one of the things that I found absolutely fascinating was quite debilitating back problems, things like discs like in your spine that are suffering, causing a great deal of pain. The idea of getting terahertz on some of those back issues or muscle issues or damaged bones or maybe knee reconstructions where you're getting some chronic pain can provide some very significant benefits. Remember, we talked about neuropathy. So not only pain benefits, pain reduction benefits, a reduction of inflammation, but also the ability to, again, really improve the circulation in those areas, which is also going to help with healing. So the idea that you now can use a tool that can penetrate deeper into your body, in this case, 3 to 5 centimeters, to really get to some areas that could be, let's say, have been causing chronic pain for you. Now you potentially have a non-drug, a non-invasive solution to assist with pain management. A wonderful thing. All right, so just to wrap up the front end side of this presentation, we want to talk a little bit about the logo, the ideals behind this project, health, opportunity, persistence, eternity. Now, these are translated directly from Chinese, so we'll see exactly what these are meant to represent when we have our own office opening in Canada. We're going to talk a little bit about expansion because these products have been so enthusiastically received in the U.S. and Canada that we're starting to see an acceleration of the company's desire to start spreading into the Western world, because this launched 2 years ago as an Asian project. This is a Singaporean company, which is, of course, why when we were looking at the G1, we were seeing Singapore-based statistics. So first things that's important for you to note here: 167 world-class patents. When you walk into the Singapore office, the first thing you're going to be met with is a wall of patents. Incredibly impressive. And when we get into a little bit more of the science, when we have more specialized meetings, I think you're going to be incredibly impressed with where they're focusing their dollars when it comes to research and development. 143 countries now have received products in OlyLIFE just in their first 2 years. They're already seeing monthly revenue in excess of $50 million. And it is very much an international company when it comes to product development. So research, R&D, is happening in Sweden and Germany, and Japan is playing a very large role with chips, microprocessors, rare metals, the critical elements inside each of these devices. Also, test results. There are many, many of them. And certifications, the same thing, many of those as well. So when it comes to the way the company is operating, the professionalism behind it, we're very, very impressed with what we're seeing so far. And in fact, many of the members in this room, if you're here as a guest, just so you know, are going to be traveling to Singapore very soon, I think in the next 10 days or so, to be able to meet the owners of the company, to meet some of the scientists and the technologists behind the project, so they can learn a little bit more and share those details with us when they get back. So one of the things we do know is it stormed onto the global map very quickly. Now, global in this case, specifically Asia, Singapore headquarters, Malaysian office, Thai office, Indonesian and Chinese office, mainland China. But very, very aggressive expansion plans. You can see there's already a Western country. Canada is also going to be on this list very, very soon. So right now we're having or I should say products shipped directly to us from Singapore offices. But what we're really wanting to see, as all of you start to share with your family and friends, and they share with others, we'd like to see a Canadian office open up as well, which I would suspect is not too far off with the way that we're seeing these products work with consumers and their enthusiasm around them. So with that, I want to stop and we'll turn the time over to Luigi. He's going to run through a rewards plan with us, and then we'll finish off, I think, with everyone's favorite part of the presentation. And that is, we'll be able to take a few minutes and hear from some people that have some testimonials to share.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everybody who's online here today, especially if you're new and it's your first time. We focus on the products and the testimonials. That's the way that we want to present this opportunity. It's not one of those opportunities where you're coming here and all they're trying to share you is on the money that you can make. No, this is not one of those deals. But like anything, when you go see a good movie, what's the first thing that you do when you get home? Well, you automatically tell your sister, your brother, your mother, or Facebook friends, hey, wow, you should go see that movie. It's just natural. We are all like that. It's human nature. So why is this part still important? Well, because like many of us who have been on this product, and you'll see in some testimonials after, I've been using it for 2 months. John, who is presenting tonight, the only reason he's here presenting also for the last 3 days and has done this awesome presentation slide for us is because he's been trying it out on his father, which I'm going to let him talk about just shortly after too. So, and so many others, we're seeing so many great results that if you're on this product for 1 week, 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, hey, down the line, you're going to see so much benefits. Even if you're not a marketer, you're going to tell your brother, you're going to tell your mother, you're going to tell your sister. And then you say, well, what happens if I do share it? Well, that's why I'm going to talk about it very shortly. We have a detailed video for the comp plan, but today I'm just going to keep it nice, short, and sweet. I'm going to talk about the benefits of this comp plan. First benefit is there's no auto ship. I want you to remember that. Whatever you purchase over 1,000 or a combination of any projects is $1,000, no auto ship. There's no yearly renewal. So basically, even if you share this project in 1 year from now, you're getting paid. You're never getting kicked out. So as we said, you start with 1,000, either with a P90 or a combination of all the other projects. There are team bonus, referral bonus, tier bonus, binary bonus, coaching bonus, global bonus. And finally, I mean, you can spend 2,000 or more, 3,000, 4,000, but the end result is get a P90. And if you want the facial massager, by the way, I'm a man. I'm using that facial massager every day. I'm a little bit shy to say it, but I love the results. It's tightening up my skin and making it look nicer. So I love the P90 Plus. First part, which you don't see often, is a 5% team bonus. I love those slides, John, by the way. Nice job. Why I love this 5% team bonus is very simple. Even if you don't do nothing, you don't sign anybody up, you're going to be earning 5% from the person on top of your binary tree. What do you mean 5%? Yeah. Everything your guy on top of you is making, you're making 5%. So if the person on top of you is making $10,000, you'll make 5% of 10,000, which is 500. But it doesn't stop there because the two people under the U, the A and the B, they also make 5% out of the 500. So they make 25. And the people under them, they make 5% out of the 25 and so on. And you can earn 5% from your upline until you 3x your money. So if you start with 1,000, you can earn $3,000. If you start with 2,000, you can earn 6,000. If you start with 6,000, you can earn up to 18,000. And there's no time limit here. You'll wake up in 6 months, a year or two from now and say, holy God, where did that all come? It's coming from your upline bonus. The next thing is we have a fast start, like many other companies, which is a 10%. This is based on BVs. Now, everything we're talking about here right now today is based on $1,000. But of course, everything is relevant to the PV. If somebody joins with 2,000, you're going to make double the amount. If somebody joins with 3,000, you make triple the amount, and so on and so on. And that's the same thing in everything that I'll be talking about, whether it's the tiered bonus, the binary, everything depends on the amount that the person is coming in with. But the fast start on $1,000 means that if you find one person on your left side and one person on your right side that come in with 1,000 each, you just made $75 for each person, which makes a total of 150. That's the fast start. What gets me excited, and what I hope you understand right here, I just want you to look at this graph, okay, very carefully. This tier bonus is amazing. Why is it amazing? Well, to start off, the 5% from your upline, it doesn't matter whether you sign anybody up. You're going to get that, okay? But to activate this tier bonus, you need to place one person on your left and one person on your right. One person on your left, one person on your right. You made the fast start, but now guess what happens? Because you have one on your left and one on your right, you make $375. Let's go to your second level. One person drops to your left, one person drops to your right. You make another 375. But where I want you to get the picture and wrap your head around is look at the third level. C brought in E1 and E2. On the other side, the D brought in F1 and F2. Did you bring them in? I hope you understand. No, right? You didn't bring nobody in on the third level. Do you still make 375 because there's one on your left and one on your right? The answer is yes. Let's go to your fourth level. G came in from E2. H came in from F1. Did you bring them in? No. Do you still make 375? Yeah. Can you understand why I'm excited about this tier bonus? Can you imagine 100 levels down, your two legs start working, even if you don't do nothing anymore, you can make up to $37,500, 100 levels. 1,000 levels down on this tier bonus is $375,000. There's no limit. There's no cap to infinity. I hope you understand this because this is the most powerful part of the comp plan. It doesn't stop there because if you look at the next graph, we also get paid on a binary. Now, if you're at $1,000 purchase, you get 11%. If you're at 2,000, you get 12%. And if you're at 6,000, you get 13%. But just for the exercise of today, we'll just take it at 1,000. So let's just say that in this binary, everybody purchased only $1,000 because it goes with the amount of money, correct? It could be much more than that. But we'll just say that everybody purchased 1,000. I want you to look at the graph carefully. You see there's an orange T on the left side. There's an orange T on the right side on the first level. You were paid for the tier bonus, right? Remember, 375. On the second level, you have orange T and orange T on the left and right. You got paid 375. On the third level, the same thing. There's one orange on each side. You got paid 375. And look at the other levels down. Now, why are there so many more greens? Well, because in a binary, the more you go down, the more there's people going down, right? So the orange spots are for your tier bonus. But what happens to all the other green spots? Do you get paid on them? That's where you get paid on the binary. Just like all binaries, you get paid on your weaker leg. So if you just want to have a small example, let's just say there's 10 green spots on one side and there's 20 green spots on the other side. You're going to get paid on the 10 green spots. Since everybody joined only at 1,000, like in our example here, well, that's $82 per green spot. So 10 green spots times 82 would be $825. Nice, right? And it doesn't stop there. We also have a matching bonus, which they call coaching bonus. That we're pretty much familiar to the terminology of matching bonus, which can pay up to 5, 6 levels down of generations. 10% on your level 1, 5 on your level 2, all the way up to 5% on your level 6 of matching bonuses. And finally, we also have a global bonus, which is 5% of the total revenue of the company, which you can earn shares on. So example, to get one share, you need to have 14 people on each side. That's if let's say there's 14 people. And yes, the spillover counts there, okay? Spillover counts on everything except for the matching bonus, which is your directs. But here on this example, 1 share, 14 on each side, you get 1 share of that 5%, and it goes all the way down to M7, which is 60 shares. Now that is for the comp plan. What I would like to share right now is one little thing. First of all, I want you to stay for the best part, because the best part is the testimonial. But just before that, I want to shut off this recording.